You ever ask your AI assistant a question that seems super simple, but it just completely whiffs? Yeah, we've all been there. It's that moment where you realize your so-called smart assistant isn't nearly as smart as you thought. Well, today, we're going to look at a new kind of AI that might just fix that for good.
Okay, so take a look at this question. It seems pretty straightforward, right? But for most AI systems today, this is an absolute minefield. Think about it. It can't just know the answer. It has to go find a list of hotels, then check the latest currency conversion for euros, then calculate the price with tax for every single one, and then figure out which one is closest. It's a whole chain of events, and if it messes up just one link, the whole thing falls apart.
So what's really going on here? Well, on the left, you've got your standard large language model, or LLM. It's basically static. It can't just decide on the fly to use a calculator or a live currency converter. It's like having a recipe book but no oven or measuring cups. You know what you're supposed to do, but you can't actually do it. Now on the right, you have what's called an agentic solver. And this is the goal. It's an AI that can think in steps, grab the right tools for the job, and actually piece together the puzzle to get you the right answer.
Now, up until now, there have really only been two main ways to build these smarter agents. The first one is to have human experts map out every single possible step. This can work, but it's incredibly rigid. The moment you ask a question it wasn't designed for, it breaks. The other way is to just throw mountains of data at the AI and hope it learns. That's a bit more flexible, sure, but it's also ridiculously expensive, and the AI is kind of stuck with what it learned. It doesn't really evolve.
And that brings us to something completely different, MetaEngine. The idea here is beautifully simple because it's inspired by the way we learn. This is an AI that gets better not by being force-fed data, but by actually going out there, doing things, messing up, and learning from its own experience.
So how does it start out? Well, it's actually incredibly simple. MetaAgent begins its life with just two basic skills: the ability to reason with what it already knows, and crucially, the ability to ask for help when it gets stuck. When it hits a dead end, it doesn't just crash. It figures out what it needs to know, sends out a call for help to a tool router, which finds the right tool, like a search engine or a calculator, and then it takes that new info and gets right back to solving the problem.
This whole process has a name, and it's the absolute secret sauce here: meta tool learning. What makes this so powerful is that the AI isn't just learning facts, it's learning how to solve problems. It reflects on every single thing it does, and it uses those lessons to refine its strategy for the next time. It literally goes from a total beginner to an expert, all on its own without anyone needing to rewrite a single line of code.
And this growth cycle is what it's all about. First, the agent gives a task its best shot. Then it steps back and reflects on what happened. Did it work? Did it fail? And why? From there, it figures out the key takeaway, kind of like making a mental note that says, hey, next time remember to double check all the requirements. Finally, it updates its own internal playbook, building this library of experience it can use in the future. It's learning from its own mistakes.
Okay, this all sounds fantastic in theory, right? An AI that teaches itself. But here's the billion-dollar question. Does it actually work? Can this approach really hold its own against systems that were painstakingly built by experts or trained on endless data? Well, let's take a look at the results.
The numbers are pretty stunning. What you're seeing here is a test called Gaia, which is a benchmark known for being brutally difficult with real-world problems. That bar on the left, that's your traditional expert-designed agents. They score just under 40%. And the bar on the right? Yep, that's MetaAgent, blowing past them with a significantly higher score.
Let's just let that number sit there for a second. 47.6%. This isn't just a tiny bump. To put it in perspective, the GAII benchmark is so tough that some of the most famous AI models out there struggle to get even 15%. So this isn't just an improvement, it's a massive leap forward. It shows that learning on the fly gives this agent a real, tangible edge.
To really get a feel for how it learns, let's walk through an actual example. The task was to find the color of a specific building based on this crazy long list of requirements. I mean, this is a classic needle in a haystack problem that demands some serious, careful work.
So, on its first try, MetaAgent does something pretty human. It finds the building that seems to check most of the boxes and spits out an answer. But it made a mistake. It missed one tiny critical detail. The size of the property was just a little bit too big, so the first attempt was a bust. And this is where the magic happens. Instead of just giving up and saying, error,
MetaAgent went into self-reflection mode. It literally looked back at its own work, saw the exact constraint it had missed, and realized its answer was wrong. The failure wasn't an endpoint, it was a learning opportunity. It knew exactly what it had to do differently. So it tried again. And this time, armed with the lesson from its failure, it was way more careful. It found another possible building, and one by one, it methodically checked every single requirement against the data. And boom, that led it straight to the right building and the correct answer, copper. The system failed, learned, and then succeeded. So why should you care about any of this? Because it signals a huge shift in what AI can be. We're talking about moving toward assistants that actually get better the more you use them. They'll become more flexible, more adaptable, able to handle weird problems they've never seen before. And on the back end, it means we won't have to rely on these constant, incredibly expensive retraining cycles. We're watching AI shift from just being a program tool to becoming a self-evolving partner. And that leaves us with a pretty exciting thought to chew on. We've just seen how an AI can teach itself to go from novice to expert. So the real question is, what's going to be possible when all of our digital assistants can learn and grow from their own experiences right alongside us?